Hello. I was hoping Dash would be here, so that was the awkward pause. Welcome, everyone. Dash is having computer problems, and he'll join us when he sorts himself out. Until then, welcome, everyone. It is our new time slot tonight. It is Thursday. Vincenzo coming in already. He's first saying, hey, guys, how's it going? How's it going, Vincenzo? And everyone rolling in here already. And Matt Benedetti finally catching alive. Keep up the good work, guys. Thanks. I guess Thursday works for some people, not so much Wednesday. It's honestly the only reason why we changed the date. It just works out better. Being back in Europe this year, caring a lot more about what happens in Europe, especially too. We figured, your European matches Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes the Copa as well. And just with the time slot, it tends to happen just after those matches, so we can recap everything coming from Europe and the previous weekend as well. Hence the Thursday. That's why we're doing it tonight. In the meantime, please please subscribe, hit all those good buttons down there, and we'll roll into it. It's actually a really busy night tonight in terms of the amount of news to go over. It's a lot, guys. since the Monday game, that's 3 days. A lot has really gone down. So we'll try to break it down. You guys, of course, throw the questions in, steer us in the wrong directions as we like to go. Make this a little bit of a fun one, right? Get us going, because I don't think it's possible that we catch every single little bit of detail that happened the past few days. So anything that pops into you guys' minds, hit it up, throw it in there. And without further ado, I guess I'm going solo for the time being. Dash, something's up. He was popped in here in the backstage, and now he's gone again. He's done that twice. So I don't know what to say, man. His computer's is messed up. It's messed up. So, and German Dave he's working. Okay. These guys, they suck. Okay, nothing new from Dash. All right, so let's get into it then. First and foremost, where do we begin? Yeah, Vincenzo, honestly, where do we begin? I'm just gonna go down my list. I'm just, that's how we're doing it. Going down the list I made in no particular order. Oscar as well saying sub Thursday seems to work as well for him. So beauty. Okay. Oh, Dash. Do we have a Dash? We have video.
We do. StreamYard.
Blaming StreamYard, are you?
I don't know what's more efficient, Chiesa being sold or StreamYard working properly today.
I think it's one of those days. I had one of those days too, so don't feel too bad.
It was weird. I was in the lobby like twice, and I'm like sitting there, everything works fine, and then like the moment I'd hit add to the room, it would just stop and it'd give me the pinwheel of death, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like someone's, trying to make sure that we don't speak or something.
That was almost as bad as waiting for Coop.
That is practically the same. If not
That's
worse.
what I'm feeling. Like, as I was going through the news, I was just like, so much has happened, but at the same time, nothing has happened. Just depending on like certain things. Like Kalulu happened in a matter of days.
You just needed to see us win the first game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it did dry out a little bit, but Coop, it's been months really, but in terms of the Mercato, right from the beginning, since like June, it's been a thing.
There's like I have many thoughts on the market, right? Where it's just like McKennie is like one thing, right? Where it's just like we dragged out this whole situation with McKennie, and then like now it ends with him signing an extension for it. It's the same amount, not a raise or less. So the report that I shared on Discord was a little bit premature, I guess. The journalist didn't know, but McKennie signs for 2.5.
2.5, because that was 2.8, was it? The one you posted? Yeah,
so he signed for 2.5. I don't really have an issue. If anything, that's more of a LOL on McKennie's part, because he could have had double the amount at Villa. So he kind of botched it there, in my opinion. He did. But hey, look, you get a utility midfield player because, coincidentally, Thuram is out for 10 days. So, you have at least a depth piece there to fill a hole. Same thing with Weah being out, but I would assume you'd probably utilize McKennie as a right back. Well, now you have Kalulu, so Kalulu would play the right back. Cambiasso would play as a right wing. So you have that covered, but still, I mean, the whole Coop debacle, and then the same thing with Nico Gonzalez, right? Where it's
Nico, my God.
can
This
we
is
just drop Nico at this point?
I've been
Is it
saying it from the beginning. I want to drop him, and now we're up at like 38 million. I mean, this is why I chose him as the thumbnails, the title header. So let's save Nico because I think we need to yell a bit about Nico. It's just he's the one I'm yelling about tonight.
Yeah, they've got so 10 toes down. Surprised they chose Adic over Moretti. I think Moretti showed that he needs consistent starting time. I think that's why they're like, let's send him to Genoa. Genoa has, a way that they're playing that'll help something with Moretti's profile. So we'll set him there, and then we'll see what kind of, because like, for example, let's use this logic. You send Adic over to Genoa. I don't think he would have more equity than Moretti to start at Genoa. So, like, for example, you have him here where he's able to fill in a role or two, maybe get a little bit of equity for him to get sent on loan. But, like, for example, it's hard to send Adic to a team that you'll know that he'll get consistent starting time, where it's like, for example, with Moretti, if you send Moretti, you know for a fact that he is going to be, if he botches it up, like if he does botch it up in training, where he's 80 to 90% has a shot at starting.
Here's the thing too, though, right? Like Moretti, he came up when you're young, you're not getting a lot of minutes, but he was there in the system with Juve in that culture, learning what it meant to be Juventino. Now he's at that point where he needs those consistent minutes, and obviously with our offseason acquisitions now, Thuram, Dougie, McKennie staying around, Fajoli not suspended, all these things, he needs that space. Now, whereas Adjets, he's now that young guy that is he expects in his head, okay, I'm not going to play much, but I'm here to just train with the guys, get to know the system. And then next year, I wouldn't be surprised if now Adjets now moves on for a loan and Moretti comes back, unless he cooks off.
Well, here's the other thing that folks have to understand. I don't believe that Adic has signed like an exclusive first team contract, so I think you'll see him filter between the next gen into the starting lineup, right? Like he hasn't signed like a full-blown first team contract, so I think he'll float between the two. Whereas like Moretti, you can't send him back down to next gen, right? No, he's got enough Serie A minutes for him to be classified as a first team player. So that's why for him, you have to loan him over Adic. You can't send him essentially.
There's that too. Yeah. And we have to remember that our next gen, I mean, how many of them did we sell? Like we need people to play for that team.
Yeah, we sold a bunch of them, and it seems like we're retooling them quite well. And then Danny was mentioning that McKennie's afraid to go to the Premier League. That might be part of it, right? Because he went to Leeds, and then that Leeds experience was an absolute disaster for him. So that's the other thing there. Some Spanish team striker. I don't.
There's a couple of names, and I didn't write them down. Because it was one of those like single source I heard it from, and I didn't really believe it, so it wasn't really worth talking about. There's a couple random striker names that popped up this week that's just like cool. Until I hear more, I'm not going to waste my time with it.
Well, I do know. Speaking of Spanish, I do know someone that needs to learn to speak some Spanish. With Chiesa apparently accepting, because this morning Barcelona were like, okay, we can register him after signing Dani Olmo. And then they're like, yo, Chiesa, we need you to like drop your salary by an additional $1 million or $2 million. And he accepted, according to Nicolo Shira.
I don't know how true that is yet.
But like, okay, so this is where I want you Chiesa stands to like wallow in misery, because Barcelona, in a far shittier position than we are, we're like, hey, can you take a discount? And then he said yes. Never once asked for a discount here. I mean, no reports of him willing to take a discount, all of this. So I kind of want to just laugh in IFTV's face and just be like, good Lord, you guys are hands down the worst commentators I have ever seen in my life.
I haven't watched that yet, but
I watched it and it was absolutely atrocious. Because here's my issue. So we've covered it article after article after article after coach after people that were saying Chiesa doesn't have any tactical place in this squad or any tactical prevalence that goes with this. And then you hear Marco go and say, it's all about the money. Like, I didn't hear anything about Chiesa not fitting into the system, Chiesa this. And it's like, dude, do you not read into stuff?
No, I think they just scroll through like Serie A TikTok and then make a show of that.
How many times have we covered it here that it's just like, hey, the report is he doesn't fit into what they're trying to do. So it's like you go out there and you have the platform that they have, and they just completely botch that. Where it's like, if anyone was there for the financial aspect of it, it was McKennie that was being pushed out due to the finances. There was no McKennie doesn't fit with what they're trying to technically do, because McKennie has a ridiculous amount of versatility that Mota is asking for out of his players.
That seems to be his number one thing, is versatility.
Because, like, for example, you look at Kalulu, and Kalulu's not, a stalwart defender. I mean, he had that season they won the Scudetto and was absolutely unplayable in that back line. But what can Kalulu do? Center back, right back. So there's multiple positions, multiple areas that they can play. Guess who can't do that? It's Chiesa. So you want to tell me and sit here and tell me that none of this was technical and it was all money? Yeah, sure, it can be money, but at the same time, Dusan's a shit ton of money, but they're still finding a way to make it work with him. So it's
a lot of this mentality too, right? Like Vlahovic, despite still not being clinical, he's shown that he wants to improve and be part of this team to build up.
Yeah, at least he's putting in an effort, right? Like that's where it is right now. But I was just listening to it and like, how can you not figure out a spot for Chiesa? How can you do you guys not, like, the only teams that wanted him was a team in Turkey, and with all due respect, Barcelona, and they're an absolute shit show.
Turkey loves Italian rejects. Can't get
because
enough.
Look, and this is where I find it funny, because guess what? Barcelona bought Gundogan for a shit ton of money, and guess what? They released him on free, and he went back to City. So City just got X amount of dollars out of Barcelona for Gundogan, and then they got him back for free. It was essentially a loan deal.
Such shitty business, like for Barcelona, that is.
So, like, here's the irony of it, and this is where I know, and this is why I think Chiesa's taking it, because now I think they've hammered it home, and I think Mangula, with the way that he played that first game, essentially just canned him. So, like, you look at that, and then it's like, for example, now he's like, okay, shit, I'll just go to Barcelona because they're the only air quote lateral. Are they even a lateral at this point? So, like, is Barcelona a lateral from Juve?
Yeah. I think. Here's what I'm thinking.
Sustainability, I'd say no.
Listen, there's a week. That's kind of the theme. That's everyone's theme. That's covering this space. The footy world, especially in Europe here. It's just over a week. Like, for all intents and purposes, in Europe, there's a week left, right? So we're down to the wire. Things have to happen. So when you have a player in Chiesa's situation, he now understands the offers have not come. I now need to make a decision. Juve is not taking me back. Now, I have had offers, and now he's doing the balancing acts. Like, okay, well, I want the glory. He's got ego. We know he's got an ego. He's got a huge one. So he needs this Champions League, apparently, right? So, I mean, at least it shows he's got some sort of character that's not just about the money. But which team with any sort of pedigree, a recent pedigree anyways, because, I mean, you can go to Newcastle or Aston Villa or any of these teams. They can afford you, they can pay you, but like really at the end of the day, like who cares, right? Barcelona, as much as they are a shit show, it's still Barcelona. They're still one of the top teams in the world, most followed, most eyes on. And that's what he wants, that ego. He wants eyes on. He wants to be seen. So, and these eyes on means if he does well, he relaunches his career. He's in a way betting on himself, but he's at this point where at least he isn't that dumb that he's realized that he's not getting the money that he wanted. And if he just signed that contract like 7-8 months ago now, joke's on you, bud. What can I say? Too bad.
Well, and the thing that makes this whole situation funny is that he's not going to be the first option.
No, that is the fun.
So like he's essentially, guess what, dude? That's Yamal's team. Like you can go there, be average or do above average. Like for the way for him to reignite his career at Barcelona, he has to be lights out. Double digits goals, double digit assists. Like that is the only way that he is going to bring his equity back up.
So 9 goals, 2 assists isn't going to cut it?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
No. No, the problem is he's going to have to outperform Yamal.
And he might, just because
like
Yamal is young still.
Yeah,
perhaps.
he is.
I'm not going to put my money on that. I think
no, I understand, but like I look at that and I'm just like, wow, that to me is just nuts. And oh yeah, okay, 10 toes down was right. It was a free. I was reading it wrong. I read the wrong transfer value. I read market value, not transfer value on this for Gundogan.
Right.
It got me, son of a bitch.
But they were paying
agent fees and stuff like that. But again, he goes back to Manchester City with a lower salary than he did when he left originally. So it's almost like a loan deal that ends up working out in favor of Man City. So that's Barcelona for you. It's like where I look at it there, Barca will always be Barca. If Chiesa does well there, it's going to look like we're nuts. I don't think so.
The stands will lose their mind.
The Chiesa stands will lose their mind, but I don't think that's the case.
People reckon. Okay, so here's the thing. Remember that buddy I said he was Colombian, and he's like, "Oh, you got Juan Cabal. You know, he's pretty good." And this, it turns out, yeah, he's not bad, right? He's pretty good. He comes to me. It was yesterday, actually. And he's like, dude, what the fuck's up with Chiesa? I'm like, and I went into a bit of a rant at this point. We're like, what the fuck do you mean Chiesa, right? So he watches La Liga mostly and South American stuff, whatever. He's not right into the Italian stuff. He gets that from me. We talk frequently. And like, he's just the example of the general population that isn't stupid about the footballing world, but if you're not actively paying attention to the ins and outs of this situation, you still have these rose-tinted glasses of Chiesa being this amazing superstar that everyone loves. But that's obviously not true. So it's marketing. However, he's been marketed. We've mentioned this in the past. Like, he's just marketed very well. And it's us to blame. It's us, the fans. It's IFTV, content creators like that, just glazing them up. And they have the followers, these big accounts. They have the followers, and people believe them without looking into it, because they can't go, like, if you're a Barcelona fan, are you going and reading every little bit of Juve news and checking it? No, let's be honest. Just like I can't tell you what's going on with Danny Olmo, for instance, in and out in that situation.
Exactly. Like, and like, this is kind of what's ironic, because I have some friends that are Barcelona fans, and they ask me about Chiesa, and they're like, their first question is like, isn't he ass? Like that's what they asked me about it. And I'm like, well, he's not what he was when he injured his knee. And they're like, yeah, wasn't he only good for like 6 months? Like, he's like, I haven't heard anything about him since. I'm like, well, but yeah. And then they were also saying, like, for example, they made comments about the coach and the play style didn't help. And it's true, right? Point. No manager wants to risk having an easily offended deep. The issue is he was never a guy for the team. And that's what Mota saw. And Mota's like, this guy's not going to fit. I'm not going to sacrifice everything around for this one dude. Like, maybe that's one of the faults to Max. And that is kind of what Max's fault is sometimes he tries to make things work to a fault where I think and that's where, like, again, because apparently I'm a Max lover.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Max's issue was Max didn't bitch or didn't put his foot down hard enough. Because, like, for example, you look at like how Mota and Juntoi, and obviously this is one game, sample size is very, very small. But I'm speculating here. They put firm things on, like, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. There isn't, like, for example, there isn't like where, oh, hey, make this work or make Chiesa work, where it's like, Mota, do you think Chiesa will work for your project? No, cut him immediately. And then they're like, in regards to McKennie, they're kind of like, hey, hey, he's a little bit expensive. Are we able to get without him? What do you think? And then he says, well, hey, look, we can make it work without him. I'd like to have him. I don't know what the background conversations that they have is there, but He's being very cutthroat about how the things that he was doing it. And then Pete Pelosi says he was our second highest scorer last year.
We had an abysmally low
Oh,
gold for stat line last year.
yeah.
49? What was it?
Well, and then what? Are we going to give Rabiot his flowers because the season before that he was our second highest goal scorer? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and it's not just the stats; it's everything around it. It's just the mentality. That's my biggest thing.
The
is his
stats,
mentality.
no, but even the stats aren't good enough for a player of his caliber.
He can do better. Like technically,
He can
do better. But again, that's because of his mentality that instead of wanting to be that team player and lifting up his teammates, he would always yell at them in cases when it was even clearly his fault. I mean, it's one thing to get frustrated that your buddy fucked up, but when you're fucking up and you yell at him, sorry.
Loca told him to fuck off mid-game. That's
that
how
happens.
Annoying it was. That's a confirmed thing. Like Loca told him to fuck off for passes.
It's toxic. You don't want that toxicity. And just think about it, like in school, at work, wherever, like if you go to Boy Scouts, I don't know what you do, but whatever, there's always that one guy that everyone hates. He might, and oftentimes, I know this too, like playing sports, there's always that one guy. I know it's usually the striker. It's usually that star striker, right? The big offensive menace on the team, but everyone hates him because he's just always calling for the puck. He always dekes himself out, puts himself offside trying to do a flick kick or, something stupid. And everyone's like, just settle down, just play the ball, look for your pass. And he's like, oh, yeah, I am. Don't worry about it. I got this. I'm better than you. That's Chiesa. He's the guy you want to punch in the dick.
But the problem is he's not performing to the level where you're like, fuck, I'll have to put up with it.
Okay, so it may be fanboying right now, but you guys are literally insane if you don't think Chiesa would work.
No, he won't. Well. He is not versatile enough to play a two-way wing position.
I think technically he'll be all right in the offensive phase.
He'd be all right in the offensive phase, but you also have to drop down and cover and overlap and do a bunch of things. You saw last season how he couldn't overlap properly with Kostic.
Hog the space, but still, I'm still reverting to the fact that, like, even if he was technically brilliant in the Mata system, the fact that everyone wants to punch him in the dick means he's not a team player and he shouldn't be on your team.
The issue, the problem. Look at his stats at Fiorentina as well. Fiorentina employed 4-2-3-1s, 4-3-3s, 3-4-3s, 3-5-2s, the whole plethora his entire time there. Only double digits goals one season. Never really did double-digit assists. The issue is, like I said, you look at his career and you look at the abundancy of his career and you look at what his metrics are from an overall performance, right? So it's like, it's not at the level that you want for someone to lead your franchise, to lead your team. Because there's only a few times where you want to put all that stock on a winger. Vinicius Jr., Mo Salah in his prime, you can still technically even say now because Liverpool chose Mo Salah over Sané. And then who else? Mbappe? Like there's not, like, for example, and maybe Yamal. You can throw Yamal on there too.
Yamal. I mean, Rodrigo's decent, but I don't know if he's the leader you're talking about. Griezmann, but he's not really a winger.
And then I look at Chiesa's successful season at Juve, and he was the third option in an offense that featured Cristiano Ronaldo, Alvaro Morata, Paulo Dybala, and him. And if Dybala was healthy, Chiesa would have been the fourth option.
You hear Dybala decide not to go to Saudi all of a sudden?
I know, he did a big U-turn.
Last minute, Jesus.
But that's it. Like, for example, and that's where the issue is. Like, for example, he said, hey, let me bet myself in the Euro. Sure, great, congratulations. You won a man of the match against Albania for 2 successful dribbles that resulted in nothing. Because again, if he was that player, that extra oomph, he should have been able to contribute to the Euros, but he didn't.
Gaetano saying hello, but also saying Chiesa is good, is a good guy, but he has a bad agent, Ramadani. Remember what Carabini said about him?
Carabini said this.
Carabini
said Chiesa is not going to be a lifelong Juventino. Him and his entourage are having objectives for more money.
Yeah, the entourage thing. Yeah,
but the problem is Chiesa's the one that chooses Ramadani. It's not Ramadani saying, "Hey, Chiesa, I'm going to represent you."
Like, you see players changing their
this
agents.
is where, this is where I have the issue with this, right? He has a bad agent, but he's the one that's keeping that agent. For example, if he wanted to be at Juve, he would have told Ramadani, hey, shut the fuck up. We're going to take a year-long bridge gap, because here's the issue. At the end of the day, the player also has the say. He has the say as well. It's not like, for example, my agent does everything and I do nothing. The only way that works is if I'm a complete naive child. If he is dead set on staying here, because look, he took a discount at Barcelona, 4+2.
That's
you don't
alleged
think
still, but yeah,
it's
that's
alleged.
what's
It's
reported.
alleged. It's alleged. So do you think that if his agent went to Gentoli and said, hey, 4+2 for a year, you don't think Gentoli would take that? You don't think he would take that? 4+2. McKennie's signing at 2.5 again for an additional year.
Yeah.
You don't think
that's
he
the
takes...
thing they would have, and that's what was allegedly offered to him as well, right? Like, okay, yes, everything, because who was it? Pelosi was saying that here we still don't know if Chiesa was ever offered a bridge gap from Juve. It's all speculation. Sure, I mean, you have to put a little bit of faith in the reporters, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we're under the assumption that yes, he was offered some sort of
similar wage. He was offered similar wage for an additional year. It's speculated that he was given the same wage for an extra year and he turned it down. But again, it's just like, for example, the agent is a representative of the player and the player are the agent themselves. So they're the ones that essentially can dictate or control the options with each other. So it's like, it makes no sense to me to say that, oh, the agent's bad, the player's scot-free. No, the player knows what's going on. The player's allowing it to happen.
Gaetano saying Carabini, in an intercept published by an Italian newspaper, said that Ramadani already wanted an increase in his salary for the church after a year and that the agent was greedy. Yeah, again, how much faith do you put on that? But when you put the whole picture together and look back, it's plausible. Absolutely. I could believe that. I mean, it is Thursday night, our old Wednesday night show. We can put some tinfoil hats on. Why not?
My thing is I don't want you guys to have the impression that Chiesa was scot-free and like an innocent angel and all of this. Like, if you guys know his dad was a diva. He's a diva too. It's by default. So it's
I just that much of a diva. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Well, it was a long time ago.
But the older guys, the guys that are really old. How much of a diva? Because I was just a kid when he was playing.
His dad was a great player.
Yeah,
absolutely. But
I don't remember, because I mean, when you're a kid, you don't pay attention to the off-field stuff, right? You're just playing with your toys. So I'd be interested for the older gentleman in the crowd if you can.
Yeah,
stretch
with
more.
With him, my thought is just let it go, move on. He's done. For example, I don't think he's going to have this resurgence at Barcelona, because Barcelona, you want to know the funny thing about this is Barcelona is bringing him on just to buy time for them to sign Nico Williams. Chiesa's already there on borrowed time. If he does go to Barcelona, it's only a matter of time before Barcelona dump him for free for Nico Williams. Because the only reason why they're even entertaining the idea is because Nico Williams is unavailable. So
if you're looking for a cheap option to fill a hole,
if you mean to tell me, and this is where I speculate a little bit, next season Nico Williams comes out for an affordable price that Barcelona is able to afford, Chiesa better pack his bags. He's done. Unless he has 25 goals, 8 or 9 assists, he is gone.
Yeah, I live in the U.S. I don't put any trust.
Absolutely fair and valid. I do not blame you for that.
Yeah, I mean, reporting these days is trash. You can kind of tease out what's a little more plausible and not. I know America's a shit show.
I'm just curious. So my curiosity with this is because they don't say how many years the deal is with Barcelona, but it won't surprise me if it's a 2 to 3 year deal.
Yeah. Charge Antune 2.0 feels that way a lot. Yeah. Dybala, the used car salesman.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
No, Chiesa will not get his $10 million a year. From who? Nobody's paying that.
No,
But
not right now.
clubs are getting more money savvy these days, right? Somebody had commented that earlier too, that the clubs don't want to pay these big salaries. Osimhen, right? Like Chelsea's not paying
Well, same.
PSG. Now looking at looking
Yeah.
at man.
Yeah, but that's not even going well. Dybala is a different. He stayed to Roma and rejected the Saudi. He accepted it and then rejected it. I'm sure it's because he probably felt some backlash. There's some backlash or something about him not starting for some. There's more to that. I don't think that's because Dybala is loyal to Roma. Because I think maybe his wife played into a factor with that. Because they're, with all due respect to Paulo, but like you just turned down 80 million to what, stay at Roma? No,
So,
he's
yeah,
not gonna go
75. It's 25 million a year at 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was,
like
it was a lot of money, man.
Like, where are you gonna go? Who's gonna take you? Nobody
I
wants him.
wonder, because there was that whole like he was leaving, the fans were like losing their shit and crying, blah blah blah. I wonder if that, like, because he's an emotional dude, that could have
Him
done
and
it.
Kies are practically cut from the same cloth, mentally wise. I found it weird because it's like 75 million. He got the bag, secure the bag, go dick around in Saudi Arabia and move on. Because no offense to Dybala, but there's nothing else for him to do. He's not able to go any higher. That's it. He's at the apex of his career. So it's like I look at this and I see him pull back out of it. I think it's just because he felt social media backlash or something like that, and he's like, "Fuck, I can't do this."
Vince is asking what's going on with Coop Gonzalez Sancho. Yeah, so we should move along and get to some other points too. Because why is it this Chiesa thing always takes so much of our time?
It irritates me. I can't wait until he's gone, so I don't have to talk about him ever.
I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna have.
I'm gonna throw a party. We're just gonna throw a party.
Yeah, call-in party. We'll do.
What's going on with Coop? Coop is Atalanta's being last minute as possible. That's the only thing I see being held up here. Is that Atalanta's like, hey, let's stall this out as long as we possibly can, because they're pissed that Coop came in with a doctor's note and is not training. So they're like, well, fine, you want to delay it with us? We'll delay with you. I think that's the main thing that's going on with Coop Myers, is Atalanta is stalling until the very end, until they absolutely have to sell him, and then they'll sell him.
8 days. Just wait.
It's going to be
about 8 days time.
We said this before. We said it again. For Gonzalez, Gonzalez's Comiso's being a pain in the ass to deal with. Comiso changed his price from 30 to 40. And right now the problem is now we have Newcastle United that have entered into the race. So that's going to stall and deflect that even more. I think here on the channel, we're all on the fuck Fiorentina and let's not give them any more money and just move on at this point. But unfortunately, for some reason, we're still obsessed with Fiorentina wingers. I don't know why. We haven't learned from the last two, but
annoys me. And Chiro saying was Chico the best, but not against Juve. He's the latest victim of the Olympico field. Yes, he was a victim of the field, sure, but the true greats are the ones that are able to get up after the knockdown and come back even harder. Just watch a Rocky movie. That's everything you need to know about a champion.
Yeah, and then same thing with the whole, like, the Dybala situation was weird because it was all pretty much done and dusted. He told everybody goodbye, I'm out of here, and then all of a sudden was just like, psych. So maybe it's Roma not taking the 3 mil. I would be surprised if they didn't, because Roma needs all the pennies they could get at this point. I don't know. I see. It's just that to me was always weird. I thought Sule was amazing. What happened last game? I didn't watch the Roma game.
Yeah, I watched the Lazio one instead. I don't know why. That was the first one that popped up.
Yeah, some folks are saying that they didn't accept the offer. Maybe, I'm not too sure. I read that Barcelona will sell Faya for 10 million and Lenglet will have space for salary. We'll see about Chiesa. I'm happy he'll go to Barcelona. Yeah, everyone's happy he'll go to somewhere that's not Italy. I'm happy too, because then I just don't have to hear his name or say his name ever again. Atalanta will be losing. Yes. So if they hold on to the deal past September and Coop does not play for 6 months, they are going to be losing a lot of money. So they're going to wait until the very last minute.
Kenny asking, Coop Miners must be done deal soon. Yes, only because the transfer market is just over a week away. That's why. Yeah, just hold on for another week or so. It'll happen. I have faith that it will happen. We've invested way too much. There's a report, however, that just came out that we were trying to get Gonzalez first. Like why? Why? It's
I
just
don't
okay. We
understand
keep
that.
on touching on Nico, but like he is the theme. Everything seems to be going through Nico right now, and it's pissing the shit out of me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I think Coop Myers is a way more important piece, and I don't think we should entertain Gonzalez at this point.
Galeno is not being sold, is why they rather.
Yeah,
Like Conceição is available, but Porto basically said no, we're keeping Galeno.
yeah. Which they would have been stupid to sell Galeno with his production. The Ebersini, Samardich, now they are very similar to Coop Myers and left-footed
Yeah,
players too. So it is, but again,
bandwagon.
Gaetano, Atalanta are like, hey, we're not in a rush. We don't have to sell this right away. We can stall this as long as possible, and that's what they're doing. They are stalling this for as long as physically possible. That is what it is.
It's no. I said this last show. I think it's going to be no sooner than Tuesday, because that's after our second game, and then they're just trying to keep them out of as many games as possible. After Tuesday, then between Tuesday and the Friday deadline, it doesn't have that much of effect. So I think it's probably going to be at the deadline, but it's not going to be earlier than Tuesday. That's my prediction.
Yeah, it would be hilarious if Poop doesn't sign. Okay, Chiesa is literally the only star in Serie A if you count Pulisic. That is, but that's only in America. We wonder why Serie A has no TV deals in major countries still. Here's one: because we don't have Ronaldo in the league anymore. That's why.
Yeah, and when you have Coop miners playing for trash teams that. Okay, yes, I guess Atalanta is a bit of a hipster team, but on like the big scale, like they have to be Inter, Milan, Juve, maybe even like a Napoli or a Fiorentina. They have a bit of street cred, but like nobody cares about Atalanta.
Let's pick this comment apart, right? So is Lautaro not considered a star? Is Kvaratskhelia not considered a star? Is Leao
season? Leao, you have to count.
Leao not considered a star? Is Bremer not considered a star? Is Chanaloglu not considered a Serie A star?
Barella, even as much
Barella. I mean, come on. Let's.
Yeah, there's stars. It's just we don't have quite the same star level. I mean, relatively speaking, sure.
Chiesa had 6 months in a Euro that elevated him, and then, like, for example, let's be genuine here. Let's ask people outside of Serie A and ask them what a Chiesa is. Like, come on. Lukaku's not even in the league. Lukaku hasn't even signed for Napoli, so he's technically not a star.
I'd love to see him back. I love
calling Chiesa the only star in Serie A is discredit to the league. Like, I really do think it is.
At the same time, let's not blow it out of proportion. Like, Serie A has done a shit job at making themselves relevant.
Yeah, Gravina's done a phenomenal job in marketing. Like, come on now. I mean, Serie A had a good chunk of players that were starting on teams for the Euro. Like, if you want to consider him as a TikTok star, yes, Chiesa's probably one of the best at being on TikTok highlights, but...
There you go. Live news coming in from Dave. Fabrizio, 5 minutes ago. Juve bid for Coop remains still the same and still on the table since August 15th.
Yeah, I told you. Atalanta's just waiting. They're just biding their time.
Remember, Atalanta is the pride of Italy, according to IFTV this year. Yeah, of course, to some Northeast Goombas.
No, we are, because apparently they're going to start jumping on our bandwagon.
Mota, please don't. Remember when they did that? They had the curse. Everyone they glazed last year, and then they glazed Allegri for some reason in one episode.
The team fell apart, and then the team fell apart. Thanks, guys.
Oh man,
what a disaster! And then even Dusan is technically considered a star, as I throw up inside to say that. But come on, Chiesa was not the person that was buying tickets or buying people to get Paramount Plus. But
it's a pretty good lineup. Gaetano given his preferred 11. Di Gregorio.
Right. Peloso, you got to pay attention, my guy. We didn't say he's not a star. We're saying that there is more than just Chiesa as a star.
Yeah, that's
what we're trying to say. Yeah. We're adding to the list.
Anyways, I'll talk about Gaetano's starting lineup. And it's good to bring light to this because this is possibly what we could have. Di Gregorio, Danilo, Kalulu, Bremer, Cambiaso, Thuram, Luiz, Nico, Coop, Yildiz, and Sancho, and he keeps Vlahovic out of the starting 11, which I love.
I mean, if he improves his consistency and doesn't do what he did against Como, then yeah, it'll work. But Como's just oof. That's what I'm basing off of. A lot of my friends don't care to follow Serie A, but they all know Chiesa. See,
Yeah.
but I can
But
counteract with you and say all my friends that follow other leagues don't know who the hell he is. They call him the Spaghetti Mafia guy because he was on TikTok for a month.
And it's again,
that's subjective sampling.
It's his marketing though. We've mentioned this, right? Like he's marketed very well for whatever reason, and I think a lot of what the reasoning is that Italians and people from the Italian league, and I'm sure it's like this in every other league, when a homegrown player pops off, we just hold on to that. And we haven't had, because we see through the national team, we don't have any really true strong Italians out there right now that are world beaters. It's not like Chiellini, Buffon. I mean, how many years do we want to go back with all these great teams, right? You can go back to Baggio, Shearer, decades we can go. And now all of a sudden,
I would say 2000 to 2006 was like the elitist.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And it slowly tapered off. Now it's
the cream of the crop.
So why don't we have star players? Because we have not produced any grassroots talent. It's died off. And then whenever we have something that resembles that, we latch onto it because we're emotional beings. Humans are very emotional. And we watch sports because it is emotional. It stirs shit up inside of us, right? That's what we want. So we want that emotional connection. So that's why we're so attached to this. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why we do it. But we do have to be realistic. That's the whole point of having a YouTube discussion like this is, okay, let's sit back. Let's look at things objectively. Let's try to, maybe recognize the emotions, the biases, whatnot, and let's actually look at what's at the table and what the situation is at the time, right now. And the situation with Chiesa, the fact that we're still 40 minutes in talking about this motherfucker, it's just like he's not part of the team. At the end of the day, I can go on for hours. He's not part of the team. Management has said so. That's it. He's gone. Let's move on. Let's find a solution.
Just let him die at this point. Just let it die. Just
you got to cut it off and move on. And that's what we're trying to do. Even if we get 10 mil from Barcelona, whatever, take him. We need to move on.
I need something else to talk about.
Some relationships can't be mended. Like if you have a nasty breakup with your girlfriend, I mean, how many times like, oh, we can still be friends. You're never fucking friends. You break up, you move on, you never talk to the bitch again. It's over.
It's over.
That's life. It sucks. It hurts.
Pinsoglio is the true star of Serie A.
There you go.
Como has actually been getting some players. They're looking at DeCilio as well. So, yeah, I guess you could say they're cooking. I mean, the first game showed they need some more players and they need the gel properly. Sancho is trash and overrated like 99% of the guys that play for England. Major error if we waste 47 million. Well, good thing it's a loan with option, I believe.
That's what they valued. Yes. So that's what it's Man United.
By obligation. That's if it meets certain things.
Conditions. Yeah. Conditional obligations. It's very sketchy. The information that is some of what came up. Those aren't final numbers though.
My question with Sancho is like, for example, what is his role going to be, right? Because he's essentially on paper, he's a similar-esque with the metrics and stats to a Chiesa, right? When it comes to progressive carries and attacks, it just doesn't really score a lot.
Yeah, Tentone's, this is a good point from Tento's. A lot of Italian talent is also underrated. If Bastoni was on Man City, he would have best in world shouts. And that's exposure. And that's, again, our fault, Serie A's fault. When I say our, I mean like the Italian community, Serie A, for just having a shit product that nobody cares about. There's so many factors to it, right? And it sucks. But again, going back when we had that one big burst of fame from Chiesa in the Euros, The whole world saw him. We all just latched onto it. Let's move on from Chiesa. Fuck
The
Millie.
problem when it comes to the underrating is that they're not consistent enough. That's the problem. Because, like, for example, when we get them up to the pinnacle, they just nosedive in form after just having a really bad spurt of it. So that's where it is, right? That's kind of the issue that Italians have had.
It's like, no, but you can hate fucker for years to come. Don't need to get back together.
Jesus Christ.
I've never actually done that. I got close one time, but
and then
I didn't play it right.
DiMarzio did say, and I'm reading it now, it is the obligation for 40. Some are saying 47. I'm curious. I mean, he did have a good spurt to get Dortmund into the Champions League final. I thought he was good. I'm just kind of curious because, like, for example, defensively, and obviously this is only off of 1,536 minutes. I'm not sure how he offers because, like, for example, he would in theory be a similar exchange to what Chiesa is, and that kind of goes to tell you, right? If they get Jadon Sancho to replace Chiesa, that tells you it is not monetary. They just did not like the dude.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was obvious, but we're moving on from Chiesa. We haven't even mentioned the Kalulu deal. This is official, guys. Kalulu's a huge deal. Finally. So this, I've cut a few superfluous lines out from the official statement, but this is from the Juve website. Temporary acquisition until June 30th, 2025. The registration rates of the player Kalulu, oh man, I can't say all of his name. It is crazy. 3.3 million payable in 2 financial years. So the loan of 3.3 is paid over 2 years. The agreed consideration of the potential definitive acquisition is 14 mil, payable in 3 years. This consideration may be increased up to a maximum of 3, so 3 bonus. So basically it's 3.3 mil loan with an option at 14 plus 3 million bonuses paid over 3 years, essentially, and 2 if it's just the loan. That's pretty friendly on the books.
It's friendly. It's a depth deal. Like, for example, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, whatever it is, right? Like, if you want to see how he plays and what he does, we made a video. It's on the channel, 20-minute video on what we're expecting him to do. It's, again, I think it's just something. We needed something to have an option that's not expensive and something that doesn't lock us in. So it's essentially not a Moise Kean panic buy where you drop 30 million on him. It's a loan with an option, and it is what it is, right? If it works out, great. If it doesn't, you send him back, just like Chale was in the Winter Mercado, right, where we got Chucky for 5 million and then the option for like 50.
He might be going. He might be leaving Southampton again.
Yeah. So look, that's kind of what I look at Kalulu. I don't have much expectation because I know he's a depth piece. It looks like the idea is to run Gatti and Bremer as the center back pairing. That might be kind of the idea that they're looking at. I'm not too sure because I think Mota might start phasing Danilo out. But like, my thing is this: if Kalulu stays healthy, I think Kalulu will be a very effective player. Guys, it's social media, the presentation, like, it's corny and it's annoying. Like, don't take that for him not wanting to be there.
They
give you lines. They say, hey, make these. It's not Kalulu sitting there and like, hey, I'm gonna do this pose. I'm gonna do this picture. No. It's Juve's garbage marketing team that says, hey, you should do this. It's like, for example, you know how we made fun of Tejan Buchanan's signing for Inter? Where they literally had him do a skit with maple syrup because he's Canadian.
Oh man! So and then they said, welcome. The other one when they're like from Canada to Milan, and they showed a picture of the Rocky Mountains, which is like 5,000 kilometers away,
and he's not even from there.
Yeah, he's from Toronto, like the outskirts of Toronto, and a piece of shit neighborhood. Like, fuck off, guys.
Yeah, cool. And to give you guys just a summary, Kalulu, we don't see him playing as a center back. He's mostly going to be playing that right back position as a depth option, I think, because you have Savona as the only backup right now to Cambiasso on the right back option, and right now you're playing Cambiasso as a right wing and a right back, so that's going to be the main thing. I think Kalulu is just going to be a depth piece along that back line, so there's not really anything to be up in arms, right? It's 3 million. It's nothing to really lose your mind over, because if you get them, great. If you don't get them, whatever.
LJJ says, yeah, I actually have no idea how Kalulu plays. And Dave's dropping the hint. We have done a nice video on Kalulu. It's called Kalulu Who?
Kalulu who?
Yeah, check that one out. It's 20 minutes on Kalulu.
And as Danny says here, like Serie A needs to stop cucking teams and let them start finding ways to make revenue, because that's the only way we're going to catch up to the Prem and afford decent cameras for camera angles.
Yeah, because Oscar was asking if we talk about. We can touch on it. This is honestly a full show. Talk about what we can do to fix Serie A. But Italians are a bunch of stubborn old men, like the people that run things in Italy.
Bureaucratically get in their own way.
Yeah, that's basically it. And they just yell. They yell at nothing. They yell because it's fun. I yell because it's fun sometimes. I am an old Italian man, and like genetically speaking. I am Canadian, but on the inside, I like to yell and throw my fingers around in angry directions. That's it. I mean, that's it. That's the culture. They can't get anything done because their egos are in the way, and they're just so old school. They're like, "Oh, why do I need a 1080p? This 7, I can't." The guy's blind, and he's saying that you can't tell the difference because he's 70 years old and still running the technology department. Is basically that's it. It's just a bunch of old men yelling at shit. That's why Serie A is fucked. And you can't fix that until you fix Italy. And let's be honest, we can't fucking fix Italy. You got Giorgio Meloni running that country right now. You think we're fixing Italy? We're not fixing Italy. Visit it. It's a nice place. Beautiful country. You love it for its faults. You know, it's like she might be a little bit fat, but she's got a good personality. Okay, that's my take. If you want to talk more about that could certainly be a whole different video, honestly.
Kalulu sounds like a Hawaiian town or city.
Oh man, I'm having troubles keeping up all the comments now. Okay, so that's Kalulu.
We're cool now.
Yeah, Kalulu, that's a couple days old, but we had to at least.
Yeah, look, and kind of to back up on Matt Tilly's, I think, is it Tilly? Yeah. Yeah, just kind of go on that. It's because, like, for example, the person that invests, it's going to be Comcast Universal, NBC Universal. That is a company that is investing in the Premier League. They own Peacock, they own Sky Sport, they own NBC, USA, all of that. They are pumping in so much money into that product because they know that shit sells. Because, like, for example, with all due respect to the Brits, you guys got your league is essentially owned by the Yanks. Like, half of your teams in the Premier League are owned by US affiliates. So it's like, because the United States has that much invested ownership, and it's high up US companies. It's not like some random ass hedge fund that owns the team in Milano. It's actual pertinent companies that are owning these Premier League teams, and they are actual people that want to do shit, unless your name is the Glazers. Unfortunately, they only care about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But when you look at, like, for example, the vested interest that U.S. companies have, and as well as advertising companies, because, you know, Comcast is the largest internet provider in the United States, and they're owned by Universal, who then also owns the Premier League. So, like, for example, if you were to get Comcast internet in the United States, or Xfinity, you know, as it's called, they give you a free subscription of Peacock when you get internet here in the U.S. And what's on Peacock? The Premier League. All the matches you want. So with the amount of money and investment the United States has pumped into the Prem, that Prem will start making money equivalent to American sports team, like sports leagues. Like, it is going to be, like, for example, and this is where I find it ironic to all the people that laughed in the face of Agnelli for the Super League, but the amount of revenue that the Premier League is projected to hit. So right now, the highest revenue league in the world is cricket with, like, I think it's like 10 billion. And then it's the NFL with like 6 or 7 billion. And then it's the NBA, the NHL and MLB. The Premier League, if it continues at this trajectory and with the amount of saturation that it's getting in the United States market, plus the UK market and all over the world, it'll probably be up there with the NFL. Because, like, for example, all NFL franchises are worth more than almost every club in the world besides Real Madrid. Real Madrid is the only club in the world that's probably worth equivalent to an NFL franchise. So if you mean to tell me that the Premier League is on track to getting there, could you imagine a 20th place team that just got promoted into the Premier League having a net worth higher than a Juventus, a Bayern Munich? Like, can you imagine the amount of disparity that is going to happen? That in turn, if other leagues don't get their shit, and I think La Liga is trying to get it in turn because of the deals that they're doing with ESPN, but if the other leagues don't figure something out soon, everybody in the other leagues will be a feeder league to the Prem.
Matt,
So pretty much.
What did you say that confused you?
So here, so Eddie,
yourself,
the problem with
Dash is an engineer. He over-explains things. It's him, not you.
The problem, Eddie, because yes, Serie A teams are owned by U.S. owners, but they aren't the higher U.S. owners. It's the Friedkin Group. It's Redbird. It's like, for example, Atalanta, Bologna. Those aren't high-level companies that are owning these. Like, for example, the Premier League teams, like the Fenway Group that owns Liverpool. Dude, they've got the Boston Red Sox, and those are hands down one of the most popular MLB teams out there. So it's like, for example, the Italian or the Americans that are like Rocco Commisso. You think Rocco Commisso can swing his bat to compare with these other franchisee owners? Like, for example, the Glazers themselves own both Tampa Bay and Manchester United. Like, when you look at that, right, when you start looking at the people or the heavy hitters there, the only owner in Serie A that financially is a heavy hitter is the Agnellis or Elkin. That is the only one. Because if you look at the net worth of all the other guys here in Serie A, it is not that high. And you can tell it's not that high because they are not investing in shit.
Yeah, it goes back to that. So I did write it down for Oscar there. We should do a show on that. The whole make Serie A great again. We can really focus it. It seems like a topic that we can honestly spend a lot of time on and can be a dedicated.
Oh, we could. Yeah, we could have a full-blown hour. Yeah,
I feel like that's like an international break type show.
It is. And Gaetano, yeah, Commisso is a great businessman, but when you look at him and you compare him to Elkin shits on him. Elkin's got an F1 team and he's got a full-blown Italian club.
Commisso owns a lot. Actually, Sal posted, I can't remember the name of the podcast now, but it's a financial podcast. Sal is our numbers guy. I did watch it. And yeah, like the amount of things Elkin is involved in, I continue to learn more and more and find out more companies and things he's just involved with. It's nuts. It's huge. It's the biggest company in Italy. And Italy is what's it, like the 8th largest country by GDP? Which just goes to show how quickly it falls off after like Britain, Germany, America, France, and then it's just like Canada and Italy and all us posers, right? But they're still up there, and being the biggest country and the 8th richest, or being the biggest company, the 8th richest company by GDP. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. He owns the Washington Post. Is that Elkin? Who does? Elkin does own papers. He does own papers. He doesn't own the media companies. Yeah. Okay.
Because the issue is you look at, like, for example, the only one right now in Serie A that has like an extensive net worth is going to be Jerry Cardinelli with Redbird.
Redbird.
Yeah, so he's got a bunch, but Redbird looks at other things as well, and like Milan's not the top thing on their docket. It might be a little bit later down the road, but like if I look at what they have, so like right now, Redbird is doing stuff with Dwayne Johnson and the USFL. They've got some stuff with WWE. There's also with the Sheik of Manchester City that's in bed with Redbird. So like they kind of go with everything. Like their film studio, their media, they're all that. They're not dedicated to just sports. So that's why for them it's just kind of like, I don't really care if Milan makes money. Awesome. If they do anything like that, they're not investing or going for anything like that. And then, like, for example, the other, higher net worth owner at 12 billion is Oak Tree. They own Inter, but like they don't really care about Inter. They just have to deal with it. and then the highest net worth in Serie A. So, like for example, the top two are going to be it's top two American owners outside of Elkin is Redbird at I believe 12 billion. The owners of Genoa, 777 or 777 partners, and Oak Tree. So it's 12, and I think 11 billion. And then if you look at Elkin's at 35.5 billion net worth. So Elkin is worth 3 times more than that. So, like for example,
Elkin's worth 2.1 billion. I just looked it up.
I mean Exor. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Exor.
Okay, Exor. Let's see.
Exor's investments 30. I think it's 35.5 billion. And then Venezia's owners is only 1.3 billion. That's their net worth. And then Napoli, Aurelio De Laurentiis, estimated net worth 216 million. Kyle Kraus of the Kraus Group for Parma, 2.8. Dan Friedkin for Roma, 6.3. Urban Cairo, that's for Torino. He's worth 108 million. The Pozzo family for Udinese, 130 million. And this is just their net worth. That's not the amount that they're willing to invest in the club.
Yeah.
Atalanta, Stefan Pagulka, I think, 450. Joey Sapto.
Put it on the screen.
Yeah, let me just
give something to look at. Now this is funny. So I put in how much is XR worth, or is that what I thought I did? I put EXO, and it's like 1 billion. And I look EXO. It's like a K-pop dude. EXO's a K-pop dude. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. 1 billion. No, EXOR is worth 34.47 billion. Not the K-pop EXO. I'm such an idiot sometimes. All right, so here we go. We got the numbers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like for example, you look at it, right? The only one that you look at this list that's actually run pretty well. Say what you want, but De Laurentiis runs Napoli quite well as far as from a financial and money standpoint. The other one is Atalanta. I think Atalanta, when it comes to being run, I think they're done well. That would be the other team that I would throw on there. I'm not going to throw Bologna yet because Bologna's only had 1 season in the limelight. But I don't.
It's only because he's Canadian.
It's not because he's Canadian. Comiso. The only reason why Comiso is being run well is because Juve keep funding his coffers, and he keeps trying to fleece Juve. But I think Comiso's done a decent job with Fiorentina. Can he do more? Absolutely. But it's just the idea is like I'm trying to show you guys is like I look at this and it's like there's no big disparity. Like there's a huge disparity because if I were to look at the Prem owners. And
this is interesting. Como Scent Entertainment. It's actually a good call. I didn't even realize that they were owned by super rich dudes.
Yeah, but they don't invest that much on there.
Mola Studios, Mola Records, Mola Chill Drinks, Galleria Como Football Shop. Football, yeah, interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about that company. That's interesting.
Yeah. So then we look at the Premier League. So Stan Kroenke, 12.9 billion. Kroenke Sports, owner of Walmart. So you mean to tell me that in Walmart, in every U.S. Walmart store, there's not going to be Arsenal gear there? There's going to be some shred of Arsenal gear.
Is there in the States?
Oh, there is. Villa Canada, as well. So Aston Villa, Fortress Investment Group, Comcast. Comcast is a broadcast partner of the Premier League. So a guy that has his stake in Comcast owns Villa, by the way. William Foley recently got Bournemouth, owns the Vegas Golden Knights and on an NHL franchise. He has a net worth of 1.6 billion, but Canadian Dave knows the Golden Knights are challenging for cups. So
like the first year, they found the cheat code the first year and challenged them right away. Yeah, man, they already have a cup. They're nuts.
So and he's kept Bournemouth from being relegated ever since I believe they've come up. Let's look at Chelsea here. So Todd Bowie, owner of the Dodgers. I mean, obviously he's focused on the Dodgers because he spent $200 million on just Shohei Ohtani. But again, despite of how much of a shit show Chelsea has been, you look at that and it's just like these guys are all sports guys. All investment / sports guys. Then we look at Crystal Palace, now the private equity between David Blitzer, Josh Harris, and John Textor. I don't expect Crystal Palace to be relegated anytime soon.
Plus, they got all that Ted Lasso money.
And then for our AEW fans, Tony Khan's dad, Shahid Khan, owner of Fulham. They own the Jacksonville Jaguars and All Elite Wrestling. Again, they know
AEW,
entertainment
really? Jeez.
and how to sell shit.
Yeah.
Was
one
Shohei Ohtani 700 million? I thought he was 2. Holy
I think it was
fuck,
like
that's a lot.
200 a
Initially
year.
or
Yeah,
something.
I think the full contract is 700.
Wow, that's nuts.
It was huge, yeah, because the Jays were going for him, and I was very invested in that at the beginning of the season.
This one is interesting. So Ipswich or whatever this is called, Game Changer 20 Ltd, an American pension fund.
No worth though. Interesting enough.
That is nuts.
Manchester Liverpool, Fenway. That's Boston. Like
yeah,
Boston Fenway. Jeez.
Yeah, and
that's
LeBron
big,
James.
it's big shit there.
And LeBron James. But LeBron's a minority owner. But still, like again,
Venezia is owned by Drake. So where does that
Fenway Sports Group.
But Venezia is owned by Drake. Where's he on the list?
Well, it's once they start getting minors, they'll start blowing up. The one thing that I thought was interesting that Silver Lake owns 18% of Manchester City. And then here you go, the Glazer family at 51.5, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, First Allied Corporation. Let's look at another one. That's it. I think that's all the United States owned teams here. But again, you look at that, right? You look at that disparity with the heavy hitters with the Prem and who owns them. And they all either own sports franchises somewhere else, or they own other major investments that do in the entertainment business, or they own a service provider that does that. Because like, for example, Rocco Comiso's telecommunications group doesn't do shit in the United States. Like it's not as big as like, for example, what Comcast would be or Xfinity is or AT&T or anything like that. So these guys, your top goons of the Prem, know what sells. And they're doing a really good job, because you mean to tell me that those guys aren't sitting with the FA and they're not rubbing their fingers together saying, how do we make this even more? How do we make even more money? Mm-hmm. The only thing that has kept football kind of sane in this surge of the Premier League is the footballing heritage that has been brought by Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, us at some point, and Barcelona. Those are the only few clubs that have essentially kept world football teetering in the balance. But it's only a matter of time, because Bayern Munich went with Vincent Kompany because they're broke. We're hoping that the Thiago Motta project is successful. And Real Madrid have gotten Vinny Jr. and Kylian Mbappe to help save the footballing world from the Premier League dominance.
Let's not forget that even in England, though, they are revamping their rules, the financial rules there, to make it more sustainable, which they have already done in the past. Because
already sustainable. What more do they need? Just have the Yanks pump more money into them.
It's more so, of course, the lower mid-table teams. But even when you talk about a Chelsea, right, the reason why they are able to continue is because they have that financial backing, but they're not actually profitable. They're always teetering on the balance. So even in England, they're looking to make it.
Yeah, but you've got a low table team that's owned by the American pension fund.
But isn't that the point, though, that even though that they are still relatively wealthy and more wealthy than anywhere else in the sport, that they're still looking for ways to be more financially
because they want to bury everything else. They want to be the Super League. I'm telling you,
they are the Super League. That was their original name.
No, they are. They are, but they want to put it with beyond a reasonable doubt that they are there.
Mm-hmm. And that's why there was the Super League, because the smart businessmen in this world that aren't working for the Premier League understand this.
The Panthers, the Florida Panthers. Yeah, congrats on the Panthers Florida Panthers for winning their first cup.
Yeah, should have been Edmonton.
Master G says, "What's the latest on Coop?" I'm telling you, the latest on Coop is when Atalanta feel like they want to sell.
So our whole thing, we haven't spent much time on them because honestly, there isn't anything new. It's been the same. It's still on the table. Atalanta are being douchebags. It is going to be August 30th. Just buckle up. You got another week to wait. That's it. Just patience is all you need. And we'll talk about it in a week's time.
Yeah, the offer is $59 million. It hasn't changed.
They have the money. We have the love and friendship. Yeah, love and friendship gets you really far in this world. Oh man, they already are the Super League. Yeah, it's obvious when they threw a shit fit and got the UK government involved.
And that's why they pissed. That's why they pissed their pants, because Saudi was spending a shit ton of money on players.
Yeah, they don't want things.
It's inconceivable. It's the absolute destruction of world football as we know it. And it's like, wait, you guys offering an outrageous amount of money wasn't?
They're okay with the Americans owning everything, though.
Goddamn
I mean, we like
those,
the Americans.
those goddamn colonizers.
Okay, man, I knew it was going to be a busy one tonight. Let's pop off a couple of quick news points here, just so we don't forget them.
All right.
Okay, so Rugani loaned to Ajax. Sorry, he's gone for at least a year. Move him away. Perfect.
That makes no sense why they extended him.
Different people, I guess.
Was it not Gentoli? I thought it was Gentoli.
Yeah, but Mata now. I things change. What can I say? At least we found a spot for him.
Whatever.
Easy peasy. Going off to Ajax. I mean, Ajax is a decent team. Why not?
Should we talk about Chiesa before it gets late? Stop it. Stop it. That's a bait. That's bait.
Fuck you, man.
That is not very Peloso of you.
Oh boy, that was a bad joke. Okay, so Nicky C goes to Venezia for $4.5 million. He's gone. Congratulations, Nicolussi Caviglia.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already, I think, 24.
Great. Now we can raise our offer from 59 to 60 something for Atalanta. All right, cool.
Exactly.
Next.
Moretti, not 100%. I don't think the official came out.
Yeah,
but Moretti to
Genoa.
Genoa.
Yeah, it's
Dry loan.
looking. I think that's fine. He goes in, he gets into that midfield rotation where you had the Goodmanson that did decent there. I think Genoa is a good team for him to go mid-table. I think they'll disrupt teams in Serie A this season. I think Moretti being able to fight in that midfield and be able to earn a starting place will do great for his equity. And then when he comes back, he'll be more physical, more well-rounded, because Genoa is a nitty-gritty physical team. And one of the things that Moretti has always struggled with is being physical. So hopefully he picks that up from there, and we get him there. I like him. I think he still has time to grow. I just think he needs to get bigger. Nobody cares about him.
Okay, sorry. Drake's worth $250, and he owns
250 in minors.
Oh man, in pennies, 250 in pennies.
Minors. Minor bills.
That's minor bills. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense. That works. Okay, we'll go with Dash's minor bills. All right, Milik is now possibly going to Milan. They're looking at that situation. Maybe
then who's going to back him up?
Now there's reports that if we get rid of Milik, there might be a couple names. That goes back to earlier when there was a couple names that popped off, but nothing for sure. Single source type of stuff. And we don't talk about the single source type of stuff unless it's super juicy and tinfoily hatty. Yeah, so
that's why I'm just kind of like, all right, who?
Yeah, we don't have any strikers, dude. I mean, I'm just reporting the news. I don't totally get it.
He's either. Like, don't sue me. I'm just the messenger.
I'm just saying what I got, man. No, I have no idea what we're doing.
Master G with the Flopovic.
Yeah, Flopovic.
Retegui. Everybody was hating him. I scored the 2 goals.
Yeah.
Were we hating on him?
We weren't, but I think he did.
I mean, I thought he was just more of a backup. I
think he caught some strays, but yeah, I don't know.
Possibly.
Maybe a bit.
Master G, I think he's going with an option to buy.
Maybe. I mean, if you can just offload him, and I don't know who you get, honestly. We'll see. We got a week.
He said, not you, my guys. You know, Dahl sometimes does the Lord's work, man. I'll be watching some other videos, and Dahl's in their comment sections just lighting them up. And that's just hilarious.
I gotta pay attention. You gotta look me up when he's
Dahl does the Lord's work on some of those videos, man. There'll be some videos where I just listen to an outlandish take, and I'm like, let me see what people think in the comments. First comment, Dahl. Like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, you gotta share it. I mean, we should almost have a section. Or just throw it up in the BS in the Discord. Yeah, whenever you see
a section on Discord, Dahl's just strays, just Dahl just going out for straight freaking hands.
Do that. I did delete a few of the channels just to make things simpler. I'm an old man. I understand a lot of people get confused with Discord, so I don't like having all these like pick your role and blah blah. Oh, the fuck is confusing. It's a chat group to talk about footy. We don't need to
just talk about nudes. I mean stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. Keep it simple, right? So any of that nonsense bullshit and things is where we put it. Guys, I didn't even put up the QR code. That QR code there will get you into the Discord. The link in the description will get you in the Discord, and it's just a good old time where we have fun. We never get anybody until I actually show what the Discord looks like. So I'm going to show you what the Discord looks like real quick.
Just make sure it's not an eagle. again.
No, that's on point. Don't worry about the Eagles.
Did you hear
Big
about DeShilio being Allegri's love child? I think everybody's been saying that for
yeah,
years.
yeah,
Everybody's
about
been saying
DeShilio.
that for years.
So yeah, guys, I'm in. I've even missed things since we've been live here. We just talk about footy. This is where we talk about footy. This is where, you know, you can catch all our latest YouTube stuff, all the news. Sal, especially doing the Lord's work here, keeping us up to date. Even I think some Goose and Jeff, you guys have been posting constantly. It's great. But yes, some things. This is where, you know, we talk about Rugani's Black
That
Child.
can't be real. That can't be
I
real.
don't think
That's
it is.
not real. There's no way that's real.
Yeah, man. Yeah, predictions, Formula One, gaming, playing some COD, maybe some pro clubs, some WWE, some pets. Look at them puppies. Some food. Talk about ketchup, anime, pro clubs, American hand football, all of it. Oh, and I got an update. So, yeah, that is the Discord. So join in. That's my little side piece. But now, I just found this interesting from Romeo Agresti. This is August. What we have done. Frabotta, Barbieri, Ake, Sekulov, Tech, Rugani, Kalulu, Nikki C, and as we just mentioned as well, Moretti possibly. All of those have been done in the past 22 days. When you actually put it out in a list like that, that's a lot of fucking work, man. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 plus 1. And we still got a week left. So speaking about the Lord's work, there is Gentoli. Del saying, lol, I'll get you on the Discord. Never had it, but you guys, he'll join for us. Oh, thanks, man. I mean, we're not forcing anybody to do it. It's just where we have fun, like where the community exists and lives. All right. Talk Science Show. Fiorentina and Arthur might be a deal we do with Fiorentina.
Yeah, they want us to give him everything, essentially. The loan that we cover it all. He just goes there and plays. Hey, here's a thought. If we'll give you Arthur and you slash 10 million off the Nico Gonzalez price.
Yes. Now apparently it's different. It's different. We're on Nico Gonzalez. This is it, guys. We're on to Nico. This is where we get mad at the whole situation because we didn't already get mad at other situations.
I don't want to get mad at them anymore.
I'm getting mad at it. We're all getting mad at Fiorentina. Rocco Camiso. Guys, this is getting worse than Coop. Do we actually want to spend $40 million?
Nope.
Why?
Nope.
Why is this happening?
Nope.
What do you guys think? Chat. How much is this guy worth? How much trouble shall we put ourselves through to get Nico Gonzalez for upwards to $40 million? Or do you guys think it's 30? Is it 35? Because apparently you're improving our offers now to 35, 37. This sounds a lot like Cooper. We're like, oh yeah, we'll
45, 50, 60.
Yeah.
Dusan Vlahovic.
It's getting messy. Now, does doing a deal maybe for Arthur where we take a bit of the wage off, does that help us? I don't know. Is it worth spending a few extra million on this guy and then they just take Arthur and Costas on our hands? We do like the good deal. We already gave him Keane, who scored today in their was it conference qualifying? I think it was conference league qualifying. Anyways, they played a team that nobody cares about, and Moisey scored finally after 509 days. He just has to play a trash team. That's fine. We give them what they want, and maybe we get what we want. That being said, I think it's bullshit, and I don't fucking want it. I've been saying it for weeks. I don't want no Argentinian Fiorentina player. Vince saying, bring back the prediction challenge. We got the fantasy league. What do you mean? You want me to go old school again where I have to count every weekend? It was a mess.
Anything else we got to cover, good sir?
We'll do go into prediction. We will do we'll do random stuff throughout the season. I'm gonna be gone. I'm gone a lot more for work this year. So it's gonna be hard for me to keep up on things because I might just be like off the grid and stuff. So I've automated it for this year. That's one of the reasons I've decided to go with the app,
Fantasy.
the fantasy league. I mean, if it turns out that everyone hates it, nobody likes it, okay. I mean, we can make adjustments. We'll go from there. But honestly, I'm gone just a couple weeks, like right in the middle of the season starting up with Champions League. It's getting a bit crazy. So maybe we'll do something separate for the Champions League. How about that? We can do that manual, and then we can appease everyone. There you go. We've come to a decision. We'll do that one manual, and it's less games for me to track. And maybe I'll employ some help too for when I'm not around. Okay, so
might just be 6.
Yeah, let him go to Newcastle. That's true. Thank you, Oscar. So Newcastle apparently came in as well, looking for Nico. I mean, let it happen. Maybe this is another tinfoil hat theory. Maybe we just glaze up Nico, bump up his price. Newcastle comes in, gives him the 40, and then it's like, okay, well, we just upped the price for Nico for you and got him off to the Prem.
No.
Now you got to take our piece of shit, Arthur. Please take him.
That's not gonna work.
I want it.
Not gonna work.
I'm trying to make sense of this whole thing.
It's not gonna work.
Nico's good, but not for 40. He's not a game changer. You know, Nico's solid. Always liked him. 30 mil is good, but 40 is a stretch. But
absolutely,
be in
despite the 16-7, still a stretch.
30 mil max with bonus if he scores 10 goals and 10 assists, then up to 40. Like so,
he'll get you 10. He'll get you 10 goals. I don't know about assists, but he'll get you 10 goals at least.
LJJ comes at 25 plus, going low. Really badly need wingers. We do. That's part of our problem. We do really badly need wingers. We talked about Sancho. There's still Conceição. But we are in a situation and we do need to put money somewhere quick. Why don't we just go for Conceição? Same thing almost.
Yeah, and then kind of what I said earlier, Kulu plays right back, and then Cambiasso pushes up. I see Cambiasso pushing more forward this year.
Yeah,
I would be shocked. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. They're gonna be putting him out in offensive packages. There's no way. I said it before the season started that Cambiasso was going to be play forward because the moment I saw Spalletti put him up top, I'm like, he's Monto's going to do the same thing.
I would love to see that more so I can kind of like know for sure if that's what I want to see. But yeah, I think maybe a little too early to be convicted to say that with conviction, right? But I would love to say it.
Dahl, you know Nico has done 20 goal contributions the last 2 years, right? So like,
20 goal contribution. Yeah, he's saying he wants both because I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nico has done that for 2 years in a row. I think it was like 16-7 and then 14-7, something like that. So like he's done it.
Oh, Master G, don't take Bones serious on the
yeah, don't take Bones seriously on that.
Yeah, he's trolling. Isaac from Newcastle.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't think that'll happen.
No, that would not. Isn't he a bit older now? How old is Isaac? I think he's getting up there now.
Yeah, and then the Gareth Bale transition with Cambiasso. The moment I saw Cambiasso play, and especially the game against Como, I'm like, yeah, he is going to be that fullback that turns into a winger. There's no way. He's so goddamn versatile, unless he gets hurt really bad. But Cambiasso Cambiasso is going to contribute to the offensive side. I think because Cambiasso is disciplined enough to play both ways. I would be shocked. Am I expecting Cambiasso to be an all-and-out goal scorer? No, I think he's just going to be one of those wingers that facilitates play. Like, for example, just like how Salamakers facilitated play at Bologna. But I think, obviously, Cambiasso is a better Salamakers than Salamakers himself.
Yeah, Isaac here is 24. I had no idea. He's kind of been around for a few years now. I just thought he was older. But valued at 75 from Newcastle, so good luck on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do not put bad juju. You know what? You can ask the guys here. If anything, everything I have, like, not everything, obviously, but a majority of things that I have said will happen have happened. I think I've gotten good equity with the viewers here when it comes to that stuff. So like I've predicted things quite well, actually, when it comes to this. So you don't need to worry about me putting that bad juju.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, if you want to tell Dash just to go fuck himself, I mean, just
say go fuck yourself.
Just say it.
Just
Yeah.
say that.
Oscar's saying, what about Nanto? He's kind of dropped off the radar a bit.
It's because IFTV hasn't been glazing him up anymore.
Yeah, there you go. I thought he was going to be promising, but yeah, I don't know if he's really one to get excited about.
And then Juventus kept the best youngsters. Clearly, you can see it. Yeah, I'm telling you, man,
Mhm.
that next gen project is going to be running. There's going to be youngsters flying in and flying off the shelf. They're going to come in, get sold. What you saw this summer is going to probably be something that consistently happens. I'm just telling you this. Like if certain players that come through there, that's how you attract more young players to your youth system, is when they come in and they get generated out and they start playing first team football.
Okay, did you hear about Gatti's new contract? I fucking love it. I haven't heard any numbers on that.
I don't know the numbers. I think
Yeah,
it was.
if you know numbers, let's know. But yes, I mean, he's obviously gonna get re-signed. We love him, and I don't know why people shit on him so hard. I think, I mean, you have to be realistic with who he is and where he is at with his career.
I'm too superstitious. We can't let him play at the Olympic. Whew, I'm glad that's a meme now. I mean, I'm not glad, but I'm also glad at the same time.
And yes,
it just needs one victim. It doesn't have to be from us. It can be from another team.
Just sacrificial lamb. Give him. I don't. Can't give him Barella. Fuck. He's on the ground already, anyways. Dallas, if you get one a year from next gen, that's massive. That would be massive. Yeah. He has a low IQ. I think he's just more of an offensive defender, and with the leg,
it's not. So the issue is I kind of want to tackle the statement real quick. There's IQ and there's experience. I think, in my opinion, from what I have seen, I think Gatti doesn't have the experience level. It's not that he's an idiot. It's not that he's dumb. That's reserved for Chiesa. But like when it comes to because Chiesa's been playing for almost a decade now, and like he still makes dumb moves. But like, for example, Gatti within like 4 years went from 4 different tiers of football. So there's different styles, different ways to play, different expectations, and different understandings of it. For him to make the jump that he did is very, very difficult. So for him, because like, for example, he's only played 1.5 seasons in Serie A, give or take. And he's 26 years old. That's a huge thing, because he never had any prior experience in the top tiers.
And the rate of his maturity that we've seen, because we haven't seen him come through DC, beat whatever.
For a guy that started late, his trajectory has been pretty damn good. If anything, once Gatti turns, I'd say 29, 30 years old, I would assume that he would be.
Oh, he's a fine wine. He's your classic
pretty good defender.
He hits 30, and like all of a sudden his boobs fill out and his ass is looking good, and you just want to smack that bitch.
Plump and juicy. So I think folks need to kind of relax on Gatti a little bit, because you gotta, like, for example, if I go from playing elementary school to high school to college to professional, that's a huge jump in a short amount of time. Where it's like, for example, a bunch of players I think folks need to be a little bit more understanding in regards to him. He's not stupid. I think he just needs experience. And yeah, right. The mistakes happen because it's a lack of experience, right? Like, you can see it because we're used to seeing that level of footy where it's like seeing and playing, and it's a different thing, right? Because, like, for example, I can sit here and I can be an armchair coach and say, well, we need to do this and adjust here and do this and blah, blah, blah. And then if you throw me on the pitch, I will shit my pants, because it's a totally different POV.
What I think people don't like with the whole Gatti thing is that, and it's funny because we want this like attacking, beautiful, fluid football, and it didn't work with Allegri because that wasn't his style. So when Gatti did push up, and we made the jokes, oh, he's the next right back, he's our defensive midfielder, whatever, because he's always pushing up. But now that he's actually playing in a better system that encourages him to do these things, and what we've seen, like, he was given the captain's armband, like that's. Maybe it's taken a bit too lately to what we're used to, but that's still, it shows that there is a trust, a faith in that player.
I'll say, folks, for this season, let's see how he does this season. If he's still error prone, makes a bunch of boneheaded mistakes, then yeah, 3rd or 4th choice. Let him see. Let's see. Because, like, for example, last season was his first full season. And even then, that he was, 2nd, 3rd fiddle. He was third choice. So let's see. Okay, let's look at it, because it's a back 4. totally different kind of defense, different kind of everything. So let's relax. Let's see how things go. Let's see how it plays. I think there's still a ceiling for him to reach.
Gatti came from a lower div, and these armchair snobs think that he's crap because of that and don't see anything good he does. He does so many good things. Like we're not trying to excuse his fuck ups. He made a few fuck ups, absolutely.
He is rash. He is rash. Don't get me wrong. He is boneheaded in some of the decisions that he makes.
Sure,
but it's not because he's an idiot.
But he absolutely made some really. He got a lot of us excited last year in a season where there wasn't a lot to be excited about. There was times when he would just push up. Yeah, I mean, not the most defensively sound, but he would push up and he would be the guy making the offense on the team that had no offense.
Well, he's
good.
The other thing you got to add on to it too is that we defend by holding possession. We're not defending by having, straight up defending. Right? So it's like the way that we defend this season is different. So there might be the way that we play this year is a lot more different than, for example, what happened last year. And some of the exposés that he had last season might not show up this year because of a different scheme. So I would just say, give it a shot. Let's relax, right?
That's true, but then they suck off Delict. Yeah.
So he didn't. Yeah,
he is better. Is he better than Delict?
Can we not talk about the volleyball player? Good Lord, that guy's a.
Because I mean, how many times had he made an error, critical ones, with his hands in a box?
Multiple. The reason why Bayern Munich is not in the Champions League final is because of him. I rest my case.
Yeah, so we have to put things in perspective.
You got to remember, 10 toes down, defenders are very difficult. Like, for example, it's difficult for them to take huge strides until they've gotten like plethora of experience, right? Because, like, for example, Bremer's first full season with us, like, dude, some of the mistakes that he made, holy smokes. Right?
Did make couple.
So it's like there's some errors that even Bremer did his first season with us. And like, for example, he came in halfway through that season, and that season we were shifting so much in certain things, and it wasn't where it's just like we didn't get enough of a sample size. That's why it looked like he was great. And then last season where we got more of him, and we're kind of like, okay, so now we kind of have the baseline of where he's at. I think he can only go up. In my opinion, I think he can only go up.
I think he's got a positive trajectory, but how about we end on like something a little more positive, maybe philosophical, in the sense that we have a new coach. Our management, relatively new, just came in last season. Mercato still ongoing, but if they accomplish what they set out to accomplish, and they build this team around Mata and his vision, and he sees that vision out with the support of the management, and even, as corny as we think it is, the multimedia team, the TikTok, whatever. Tia, building up the product around these players, playing this beautiful football. Again, this is a team game, and it's not just the 11 players on the pitch. It is the management. It is the multimedia team. It's us, the fans, showing up to the stadium to cheer with the banners and not booing a dude in a preseason match. It's having that whole package put together and delivered. Let's just wait and see how this develops, because we can sit here all day and pick apart each individual player. Oh, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. But how do they all come together? The hundreds of people that are Juventus, how do they all come together and give us that product? We won't know that, of course, until May, the final results. But it's looking good, and it's only match day 1. We just finished it. We're going to match day 2. Champions League starting up. Man, there is so much to be looking forward to.
It's a hell of a soliloquy.
And for once, I think as a whole, Juventini are like breathing a breath of fresh air, and we're looking forward to the next game. So let's take that in, and whatever. Call me. Was it sappy? What would the hip kids call me these days?
Damn, Dave, who died?
So
damn emotional.
Yeah, it is a little emotional, but no, come on. Like, we just spent an hour and 35 minutes here, just like ripping into individuals for better or worse. Essentially, at the end of the day, this is. I am. I'm gonna come. If this Juve continues for the next few months, I am gonna come. I'm gonna come hard.
How about that D, baby?
Okay, I'm done crying about stuff. Okay. Well, I mean that was a lot today, guys. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah, we went for like an hour and 40. An hour and 40.
I had like spaghetti in my mouth that I couldn't get. Oh man, I made everyone cry. Oh fuck, I didn't want to make people cry.
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
That's Kiza every time he watches us.
Oh man, if only he did. He would cry. He probably would. Dash. All right. Cut me off. It's usually me cutting you off, but you're doing it to me tonight.
All right. Yeah. Let's.
All right. Well, let's do it. That was fun.
Fuck me.
And emotional.
Really?
Yeah. Ah, no. No more. Give me a beer. Just dropping all the old.
Why does there we go. No, I cut you off. But anyways, folks, thanks for tuning in for this one. Obviously, we'll be back on the weekend. We've got a little bit of a busier weekend because we've got some Saturday stuff that we'll cover. Sunday, we'll switch over to the F1 because it is the Netherlands Grand Prix. So hopefully we hear the Max Verstappen theme song. I know German Dave is like, oh God, why did he play that? Watching the replay.
You just wake up and then your heart is just pumping. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so those moments are crazy.
There you go.
He's not even here for it.
He's not even here for it, but that's there for Carr. He gets that boom, 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 boom. But anyways, guys, make sure you like. If you haven't liked already, subscribe if you're new to this. And I mean, join the Discord, right? Because it is Ronaldo approved. Right, Ronaldo?
All right.
See, Ronaldo likes our Discord. But anyways, guys, before I start getting spammy with these clips here, obviously like and subscribe. We'll see you guys on Saturday evening for the call-in. So,
or sooner if shit crazy goes down.
or if something does go down, we'll open the line or we'll do that then. But if obviously Saturday have some topics you want to discuss, you can either call into the show and we'll throw you in on stream and we can have a debate on some of the stuff. Or if you want to spam the chat like Doll and do the Lord's work, do that. Again. That's why we love Doll. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if I'm going to play the music because it probably will cut out my voice, but you guys know what to do. Thanks for tuning in. We shall catch you later.